It had been a month since Ryan married Jungkook, a month of fearing her own husband. Even his mansion was drowned in fear and darkness. Half of the time she's running away from him, the other time she has his eyes like black holes stuck on her. Her hands trembled as she gripped the glass of water she took from the kitchen. Her nerves were going crazy from the things she had overheard tonight. She had only wanted to find him, to ask why he wasn't at the dinner. Instead, she had stumbled upon his meeting in the greenhouse, a breathtaking glass structure that now felt like a graveyard. The sight had frozen her blood. Jungkook, lethal and silent as ever, had knelt before a man tied to a chair. The man's face was bloody, unrecognizable, his muffled screams breaking the pristine silence of the night. JK, this could have been avoided, but now you have given me no choice, he said in a voice as cold as ice. His calmness was what terrified her the most. She didn't need to see the gun to know what came next. The sound of the shot made her heart drop in shock. The sound drew his attention. Her eyes had locked with his for a little moment before she turned and ran away, as if her life depended on it. Her heart pounded louder than the echoes of the footsteps behind her. Now, sitting on the edge of the bed, she couldn't breathe. Her chest felt tight, like the air was too thick to inhale. She needed to stay strong, knowing this kind of a dangerous man she was arranged to marry. But how could she? How could anyone stay strong in the face of a man like Jungkook? A man who held death in his hands as easily as she had held fear. A soft knock at the door made her jump. JK, Ryan. His voice came through, low and steady. No anger, no malice, but it sent chills down her spine not less. She stood backing away from the door as it creaked open. Jungkook stepped inside, his tall frame casting a shadow that swallowed the light of the bedside lamp. JK, why did you run? He asked, closing the door behind him with a soft click. Ryan, I didn't. She stuttered. Jungkook, don't lie to me. Ryan, I saw you. I didn't mean to. JK, I told you not to go near the greenhouse. You disobeyed me. Her breath hitched as he stepped closer, the scent of his perfume mingling with the faint metallic blood she imagined still clung to him. Ryan, you killed him. she whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. JK, yes. His admission was as simple as stating time. Placed a hand on the wall beside her head. Why? Why? JK. Because he was a traitor, and in this world, traitors don't get second chances. Her knees gave up and she fell on the floor, trembling. She was overwhelmed by a mix of fear and anger. What kind of world had she been dragged into? She flinched when she knelt before her, his hands settling lightly on her shoulders. His touch was gentle, a stark contrast to the man she had seen in the greenhouse. JK, you're shaking. I told you I wouldn't hurt you. Ryan, how can I ever believe you? She whispered, tears slipping down her cheeks. He sighed, brushing a strand of her hair from her face. His thumb lingered on her cheek, wiping away a tear. JK, you have every right to be afraid of me. But the more lethal I am, the more protective you are. Being my wife, you are my responsibility, under my protection. Her lips trembled, but she couldn't respond. Without warning, he picked her up in his arms, carrying her effortlessly to the bed. She struggled weakly, panic overtaking her senses. JK, stop! He murmured, settling her against the pillows. His voice held no anger. He climbed in beside her, his movements slow as he trying not to scare her further. She froze as his arm slipped around her waist, pulling her flush against him. Ryan, what are you doing? She whispered, her voice trembling as she panicked. JK, making sure you don't pass out. He said, his voice warm against her. JK, trust me, I won't bite. He had the audacity to tease her in that moment. Somehow, that little sentence was able to distract her from the ultimate fear. Ryan, I have a fragile skin. Jungkook hummed against her ear, which sent shivers down her spine. This time for a reason completely opposite of fear. JK, I can tell. His fingers brushed against her bare arm. She was half uncomfortable and half enjoying his touch. Somehow, slowly and gradually, her fear started fading away as he kept tracing his fingertips against her skin. Ryan, do you promise not to hurt me? JK, I promised myself before marrying you, and I'm going to promise again. The only thing you'll ever receive from me is protection. Her eyes confidently landed on him. Finally, as she held onto his shirt, coiling her fingers around it tightly, he was her husband. Maybe she really needed to stop running away from him. JK, what are you thinking? He held her chin. Wine. I understand. Traitors cannot be forgiven. However, the matter is too cruel. But I'll stay out of it. Please keep whatever business you have away from home. Wine. I don't want to see or hear anything like this ever again. His huge warm hand slid all the way up to her neck, then her cheek, messing with the strings of her heart. JK, so forbidding you to enter a place doesn't work? Wine. It's my home. I'll go wherever I want. Somehow he was proud of what she said, as he leaned closer to her lips, chilled all the way from her cheek to her temple. JK, fine. Go wherever you want and I'll protect you. She sighed in relief, feeling much better. She didn't know what life held for her with this man, but right now she felt warm and protected. Like a woman no one in this entire world could ever touch. And if things stayed like this, like the feeling in her heart right now, she would spend the rest of her life happily.